All right, folks, it's week 3 of the high school football season. Happy Friday to you. Isaac Petcash, John Leidick. Another busy week, although the big news of the day, the big news of the week, 5 cancellations this week, including one today.
Yeah, and that is Titusville. It seems, and it's very unfortunate because the Slippery Rock Athletic Department's done a great job adjusting, but this is the third time in the first 3 weeks that they've had to reschedule games because of COVID cancellations. It's going to be tough to try and get a game tonight as they lost their game against Titusville, and a fourth game at the end of the season in Week 10 had to be shifted because I believe they were playing Erie High, and Erie High is making up their game against Butler. Right. So 4 of their at least 10 scheduled games have been changed, but that's the news of the day. Slippery Rock Titusville will not be played tonight, as that was the 5th cancellation of the week, joining Oil City and Wilmington, General McLean, McDowell, Sagertown, and Maplewood, and Cambridge Springs Northwest.
Yeah, so 5 cancellations. Still a lot of games, though, on the slate tonight, including a couple of good ones on our screen here behind. We start with Erie and Harbor Creek. Can the Royals shut down Cam Williamson and the Huskies? That'll be the question. Corey and Northeast. Beavers looking for their first win of the road. Our game of the week is Girard and Fairview. The rivalry just 10 minutes apart from each other. That game should be exciting, even though the Yellow Jackets 0-2 and the Tigers 2-0. And then Warren, undefeated, visiting undefeated Cathedral Prep.
Yeah, I think you take a look, first of all, at this game. You mentioned the fact Cam Williamson. Think about the struggles in the first 2 weeks that Erie High had containing the Cathedral Prep run game. Specifically, Michael Parks had a big part of that. Cam Williamson has done some damage, although they struggled a bit in the first half last week against Warren, so we'll see if it's an angry Husky team coming into this game.
And you talk about the running game, Girard, Fairview, our game of the week. You have the Yellow Jackets with Gunnar Bax, their junior running back, and then Fairview, Jared Januso, who's already been our Gary's grinder. He had 3 touchdowns in week number 1, another great performance in week number 2, so it's a run-first oriented sort of a game for Bill McNally and Mark Sobolewski.
Yeah, that's going to be a great game. No matter what the records are, it's one of those rivalries where you just throw it out. It's probably going to come down to a final play in some fashion. And we look forward to that one as we head out to West County today.
All right, what else do we got here in week number 2? Mercyhurst Prep and Fort LaBeouf. The Lakers traveling on the road, taking on the Bison, 2 teams that have also had games canceled because of positive COVID cases. Fort LaBeouf, John, probably played the best game of the week quality-wise against Grove City in a 17-14 win last Saturday. Their defense looked pretty remarkable.
That was huge because they were, in the previous 5 seasons, 0-5 against Grove City. So something, again, that was the team that knocked them out of the playoffs last year. So kind of a prove-it game for them as they got their first game underway. And for Mercyhurst Prep, this is their season debut.
Right.
They haven't played the first 2 weeks, so they're going to be looking, I'm sure, pretty anxious to get out of the gates in a positive way.
Other games we've got going on, the one on the bottom of your screen, Slippery Rock Titusville, like we mentioned, will not be happening tonight because of COVID cases in that game. Seneca visiting Cockerton, Iroquois in Union City. What do you make of those 2 games there, John?
Well, it's interesting because Iroquois had their Week 2 game canceled because they were playing Sagertown. They were dealing with COVID cases last week, so Iroquois back at it. Matt Morgan's group looks to restart that offense after they struggled a bit. Union City looking to jump back, and they've been able to put up some points. It's just preventing them that they've had some issues with. And then Seneca and Cockerton. Cockerton was the surprise maybe of week 1, getting that victory at home against Union City. So they'll look to make it 2-0 while they had last week off. And then Seneca, they've shown some strides, but it's just putting it all together here to see if they can get a victory tonight.
You know, it's interesting when you talk about Union City. They're the one team that hasn't been able to have success in the opening 2 weeks that has still been able to score points. We talked about how last week in Erie County there were 15 games, 14 of them decided by more than 21 points, and I believe 12 or 13 were shutouts. Union City's been able to at least get on the scoreboard, so we'll see if they can pick up a win in week number 3. As we move across, Meadville and Butler, the Bulldogs trying to go to 2-1 after an impressive 47-7 thrashing of General McLean last week. Greenville visiting Sharpsville in Region 1, as is Reynolds against Mercer, and Conneaut at Grove City. Eagles looking to bounce back in week 3.
Yeah, I think this is an interesting lineup because this is going to be interesting as this game is going to be played at West Middlesex. Greenville and Trojans, obviously Sharpsville and West Middlesex co-oping this year, so they are giving the chance for West Middlesex to have its homecoming night, have its opportunity to have its only home game of the season. So that's going to be, I'm sure, an emotional game as Greenville off getting bounced by Farrell early in week 1, returned the favor, got a chance last week to get a victory, so they'll look to make it 2 straight. And Meadville, man, they were running all week last week against General McLean, so they'll look to continue that. They did it on both sides, offense and defensively.
I believe I heard something also earlier in the day. Sharpsville was petitioning to wear red jerseys today in honor of West Middlesex and their homecoming, so we'll look forward to that game and see who comes out on top there. Final graphic for you, John F. Kennedy taking on Conneaut. The Eagles looking for a win in week number 3. Franklin traveling to Eisenhower. How about the Knights? They're keeping pace with Northwestern in Region 2.
Yeah, boy, is that going to be an exciting game, because really you talk about a team that, the first couple of weeks maybe haven't had, at least week 1, they didn't have the offense rolling, but they put up the points last week against Union City. But they'll look to make it 3-0 and keep right there with Northwestern, who's now waiting, and they'll have to wait another week with their game canceled.
And the final 2 games, Farrell visiting Lakeview. The Steelers' offense continues to roll rampant upon everyone else.
Haven't allowed a point either, so...
It's easy when you have both things going for you. You only have to score 3 points a game, and yet you're able to score in the 50s and 60s. And then Hickory traveling to Sharon. What a game last week. Sharon getting upset in a game that actually started an hour late.
Yeah, University Prep showed up late, and it seemed like it was Sharon and their offense showing up late to the game after that delay. But Hickory looking to find some momentum. These 2 games, of course, Saturday at 7 o'clock. So it'll be a great cap to week number 3, barring everything goes well. Again, we're in that era right now that until the games officially kick off, we're still in the unknown as we move along throughout each and every week.
All right, so key games, obviously Fairview Girard game of the week. Any others you're looking forward to as potential upsets or close games?
I am really intrigued by Warren Cathedral Prep. Cathedral Prep has had some success early on, specifically the run game. They've had the ability and knack to get the turnovers. I want to see if Carter Barnes, though, can take that next step. We heard from Mike Mishler those first few weeks. He seemed like he was better in the passing game in week 2 against Erie High, but let's see if he can take another step, because Warren coming off an impressive win, and if you want to label it an upset, Harbor Creek, that seemed like a pretty even matched game. But that's the game I'm kind of circling to keep my eye on and see how those results play out. See if Warren is up to the task of taking on the state runner-up from a year ago.
And remember, after Cam Williamson scored an opening drive touchdown for Harbor Creek, he didn't score again, didn't really factor in the rest of the game. So Michael Parks, a competent running back, can Warren do that again for the second week in a row? Man, it would be an upset on the road if they can beat Cathedral Prep. I want to get your prediction for game of the week, Fairview and Girard. The Tigers coming in 2-0 on a roll. Girard, Bill McNally saying the first 2 games were more of a tune-up for this one tonight. Who do you like?
God, there's always so much passion in this game, and it's always exciting. I don't know if it's going to be as close as it has been in recent history. I'm going to go something like a 28-17, something to that effect. I think Girard, they just struggled to move the ball early on this season, so I just can't go with them in a close enough game that Fairview will be sweating it out. I think that may be a late touchdown to make it look a little closer than it may be.
I'll save my pick for 6 o'clock news tonight. Final thoughts, week 3 is already here.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. Yeah. We're almost, really, because some teams don't play in week 10 as they prepare for the playoffs, so we're practically a third of the way through the season. It seemed like we were just getting ready for this season, and here we are, week 3 already, so excited to get back out there tonight. We're going to be around the region as well. Send us your photos. We're going to be we take photos of Football Fridays. If you have a great sign, a great moment, and certainly it's going to be an emotional night as well on the eve of 9/11 20-year anniversary. So send us any great photos that you have to Erie News Now Facebook page and to our Twitter accounts as well, ENN John Leidick, and then ENN Isaac Petcash?
Yep, same thing. Make it simple on you. And again, a tribute to 9/11 tonight as we go forward. All right, games around the region. We've got highlights at 10, and then our Football Fridays at 11 o'clock. Should be a fun one. Jovan Johnson joining us.